Hello guys, this is Captain Dorja. Welcome to Captain Dorja's Armory. I know I haven't put up hardly any uploads in a while, and that's for a couple of reasons. The the tank classes thing has taken longer than I thought, and I've been pretty busy the last week or so with work, and I just wanted to let you guys know I'm going to be on a ship for an indeterminate period of time, probably only about 5 to 10 days, but it's 5 to 10 days ago, it was only supposed to be 5 to 10 days, and now it's been 10 days. So anyway, it could be a little longer than that, but hopefully it'll only be about 5 to 10 days. And it's a government-run ship. It's called the USNS Gordon, this thing. It's a converted container ship that is now a roll-on, roll-off, and kind of cargo carrier. Basically, it sits around in Baltimore, and if the United States needs it to move a giant amount of troops really, really fast, they use things like this. So it's just doing a sea trial to make sure that the ship is able to go. And also, it's a test for the companies and the unions to make sure that if the government calls, they can get the ships manned and operating quickly. But the ship actually broke down when they went to leave Baltimore, so now it's being repaired. So yeah, I'm going to be on it for the sea trial for just a couple of days. But it'll mean I don't really post anything really for quite a while, so I wanted to get something up before I left. And we're going to take a look at a battle I played in this thing, the 112, because I've been kind of frustrated by this tank. I really liked it on the test server. Thought it was really good. And I really liked the T-34-3 on the test server too. And I'm sort of up in the air with the T-34-3 right now with a little bit more experience on it. And with the 112, been having a lot of problems. Initially, I thought it was going to be basically just an IS-6 that was almost better because it had better armor at the front, and because you can fire 250 penetration heat shells if you can't defeat the frontal armor of like a heavy tank with your normal rounds. But what I've come to realize is that the IS-6 in almost every single way is better than the 112. And I'll quickly go over why, and then we'll take a look at this replay. First of all, the armor on the front hull of the 112 is quite a bit thicker at 120 millimeters, but the lower plate is a humongous weak point, and it is very, very, very weak. It can be penetrated by just about anything that can hit it at really any range. So you have to angle quite a lot to keep your lower plate safe. And when you do that, you expose your side armor, which is only 80 millimeters thick. And even though this top part is spaced, it still lets in just about anything that hits it. And it doesn't have the sloping and angling that the IS-6 has. The IS-6's side armor is 100 millimeters, and it's very, very well sloped. And then on this part, you have a side skirt and a track, giving some additional spaced armor protection. On the 112, you have 80 millimeters, and then there's the spaced armor right here, but that doesn't seem to really make much of a difference. And then you just have 80 millimeter armor with tracks covering it. It gives it a little protection, but not much. So shots on the side of this thing are really devastating, and when you angle enough to protect your lower plate, you give them your side. When you angle, but only enough so that your side armor is still okay, you give them your lower plate. It's a big problem. The gun, also, the lower rate of fire compared to the IS-6 means you have a lot less firepower, but in a lot of ways the gun performs about as well. It seems to be fairly susceptible to RNG problems, where you'll fire a heat shell at something you can almost penetrate with AP, and even though you've got 75 more penetration, you'll bounce. So you get some RNG problems. A couple other things about this tank that sort of make it a little bit crappy is the top of the hull is incredibly easy to penetrate at almost any angle. I was parked in a position where I was side scraping, and an enemy tank had an angle about like this into this tiny little corner right here, and they put shot after shot after shot through that. I also was angled a little bit like this, and they were able to hit me here at this crazy angle. It takes a lot of accuracy, but you can do it, and you'll pen with just about everything. So this tank has some real armor problems that can really mess up its ability to be effective in combat, and that totally stinks, because it's got all the potential to just be a wrecking ball, but it just seems to have a lot of weak points, and not the kind of thing you would expect. It's just that the side armor just seems to be garbage, the lower plate is terrible, which you would expect the lower plate to be weak. The hatches are weak points, but like, there's no need to shoot at the hatches, you can just shoot at the lower plate. If the rear of the tank is even slightly higher than the front, you can shoot at this, or you can shoot at this, or you can just shoot anywhere in the side. I will say, though, that the mobility on the tank is pretty daggone good for what it is, and it actually has pretty good gun depression. So after you play a Chinese tank like a T-34-1 or a T-34-3 or any of the other Chinese mediums, where you basically have no gun depression at all, maybe half a degree, you get into the 112 and you probably have 3 or 4 degrees of gun depression, so it's pretty decent, which is definitely nice. So anyway, guys, we've been in the garage for a while. Let's take this thing into battle and let's get it out. Let's get out and see it in action. All right, so we're loading into battle in the 112, and something is obviously wrong with my replay file. Maybe there was a mini patch or something, because my World of Tanks, my replay file is not uploading properly to WoTReplays.com, and the inbuilt XVM is messed up. So I think, I don't know, something's jacked up with my replay file. But anyway, not to worry, because we have all the essential information still. We are in the 112, we are on Malinovka, we're on an encounter battle. I do not mind encounter Malinovka. A lot of people really hate this map. I don't mind it at all. Standard battle, encounter mode, I think it's usually a good fight, so yeah, bring it on. I usually do pretty well on this map too. I have a lot of good games on it. So you can see here we're in a Tier 8 match. There are a lot of Tier 8s on both teams. My team has 2 Tier 7 heavies, a Tier 7 scout, a Tier 6 tank destroyer, and a fail platoon with a Tier 4 medium and a Tier 4 scout. The enemy team have all Tier 8s except for a Tier 7 light, a Tier 7 medium, and 2 Tier 4 scouts. So it's a very Tier 8 game. You can see our 4502A is getting decimated. That is why you drive back where I am, or even farther over to the right, so you don't get spotted. And so yeah, he's taking a pounding, but we're going to push on into the hill. We're going to try and get this tank into a position where hopefully we can do a little side scraping, hopefully we can keep our lower plate covered, and hopefully we can get some work done. So we're going to ignore the T-32, because he's not the priority. We're just going to focus on getting into cover at the windmill. I fire a shot at the T-32 on the move, just trying to discourage him, and, miss, no surprise there, and now I'm safely behind the windmill. Now the problem is, none of my team have yet made it up here, and there are a lot of enemy that are up here, and they're going to be able to push on me pretty quickly. So I'm trying to get rid of this M5 Stewart as quickly as possible, and we knock him out. And now the T-71 has made his appearance. So we're going to try and get these scouts out of the way. Put a big hit into the T-71, do about 50% of his health, just over. So he's probably not going to want to stick around. But you can see the T-32 is pushing in. So we need to start working the T-32. Put a good side hit into the T-32. He's busy focusing our IS-3 and our Ferdinand. You can see there that I just bounced a shot, probably from the IS-6, who seems to be actually looking at me. Now we're in a not such a good position anymore. The T-32 has decided to go hull down. That's bad, and I won't be able to damage him no matter what. The IS-6 is virtually hull down. That's not great, but it's not too bad either. He'll have a really hard time damaging me, so I'm not super worried about the IS-6. But it just means that we're not pushing these guys back. And the thing is, we're really not advancing either, and that's a problem. Like, our team is kind of in a limbo spot. We're not attacking, we're not defending, we're just sort of hanging out, exposed. But for some reason, we're just slaughtering the enemy. So we're trying to continue to do some damage there. We take a shot at the T-32 commander hatch. It doesn't go in, no surprise. But the idea there was really more to just kind of rattle that guy's cage and maybe get him to maneuver where he actually would show some vulnerabilities. So I get my track blown off by the IS-3, that's not a problem. Put a shot into the turret on the IS-6. Again, no damage done. Very hard to penetrate the turret of some of these tanks. So I decided I want to get rid of that IS-3, and the only way I'm going to be able to do it from this position is to load heat. If I load heat, I can fire at his upper plate, and I can penetrate it. If he can stay hull down against me, I won't be able to damage him, but if he gives me his upper plate, I can pen it. And I can also pen the side of the T-32's turret since I'm firing heat shells now. I still can't penetrate him frontally, and even with standard AP, there's a chance I could penetrate. So I'm trying to signal for my teammates who are down below me to get up here and attack, but who knows if they actually will do it. I just want to say right now that this is actually one of the better games I've had in this tank. I've had a fairly unsuccessful run with the 112 so far on the live server. I'd say I've really only had probably 2 battles where I thought the tank lived up to its potential, and this was one of them. Now right there, that was a major mistake. I did not realize there was an ISU 152 right there, and so I just took a humongous hit from... Actually, it looked like a combo shot from a couple of different people. But anyway, I'm down to 200 health. What I was trying to do there is I was trying to use that little lip to give me enough of a downward firing angle to be able to shoot into the turret on the IS-3 and the IS-6, because from a position above them, I can actually fire down through their weak turret roof armor. Now you can see I took one hit straight through the upper plate. That was probably HE or just a very high caliber AP round from the ISU. And I also took a shot through the lower plate. So, now again, this is what we're talking about here with using the height advantage against the IS-3. Because I'm up so high, I hit his upper plate, and I was able to penetrate it with heat. So now that we've fired our 3 dirty heat rounds, we're going back to standard AP ammo to continue working on these guys. So we've done about 3,000 damage so far. We've sustained 1,300, but we have bounced at least one shot from an IS series tank, so we've taken about 2,000 potential damage so far. Or, not 2,000, but about 1,700 potential damage so far, which isn't great. Definitely not great, but it's also not terrible. We've only received about 5 or 6 hits, and out of that total, 4 of them have gone in. So that shows kind of what I mean about the armor on this tank not really being all that good. And you can see the accuracy and aiming time of the gun. Long aiming time, poor accuracy. We fire a shot at the T-28 prototype anyway, because why not? And now, though, we've come upon our death. That is a T-69, and he's almost certainly got a full clip loaded. If he's even half awake, he'll kill us. And on his 4th shot, he does. His 1st shot missed, his 2nd shot bounced, his 3rd shot detracked us, and his 4th shot went right through our lower plate and killed us. So, yeah, not a great way to die. As soon as I saw that guy, I knew that I was dead. But from this point on, oh god, I need to stop doing that. From this point on, we basically won this match, so it's not a problem. Our tanks are going to push in and sweep those last 2 guys off the field, and the victory will be ours. Now, because my replay file got messed up somehow, I can't get post-battle results, which is unfortunate. So we're just going to have to make do with what we know we did. We know we did 3,344 damage. We know we tanked about 1,700 to 2,000 damage, and we got 2 kills and we got the victory. I think this was about 90,000 credits, probably. I'm not entirely sure. With a healthy profit margin, even with the few heat shells we fired. So we're going to back out of this match right now, and since we spent 5 minutes in the garage and this was only an 8-minute replay, I think we'll take a look at another replay that I had just to get some more action in this battle. Okay, so since that 112 battle was barely longer than the time we spent in the garage, and since I'm leaving, I decided I would just do both of these replays at once. This is a battle that I played a couple days ago. I was platooned with Terminator, aka Lynx, and he's driving his M103 Tier 9 American heavy tank, and I'm driving my Leopard prototype, German Tier 9 medium tank, and this was a pretty fun game. Now we're on a encounter battle on Redshire, and immediately immediately I tell Lynx that we need to go to the A2 sector. And I'm just crossing my fingers and praying to God that when I go up to A2, we don't run into the platoon that the enemy team has. They've got you can see on the right side there, their platoon number 2, a T-54E1 and a T-69. And both of those guys were decent players too. So that's a very dangerous platoon. And so I told Terminator that I was going to go up to A2 and asked if he'd come with me. And the reason why I really wanted him to come with me in the M103 was if we ran into the 54E1 back there or the T-69 back there, I would be just smoked instantly. There would be nothing I could do about it. I would get 1, maybe 2 shots off, and then I would die. But with his M103 there, we could at least probably ensure that we knock them out as well. So this is my favorite spot to come on Encounter on Encounter Redshire from either team. It's a great position for a sniper tank. It's a great position for a fast medium. Even a fast medium tank with a medium range gun like the T-54 can do amazing up here, and it's really well suited to the Leopard prototype because you have hard cover, you have concealment, and you have great lines of fire. So what you do is what I'm doing right now. You poke just far enough around the hard cover to get your gun on target. You aim, you take your shot, you pull back into your hard cover, and you reload. Because the Leopard prototype has about a 10-second reload. So that's a pretty devastating reload when your tank is as lightly armored as this. You can't be trading blows in the open with anything, not even a tier 8 medium. They'll just cut you up. So you have to get between hardcover and the enemy. Or you have to get hardcover between you and the enemy. So this is an amazing spot for a Leopard prototype. And I've already dealt almost 2,000 damage and have killed a guy and crippled, I've already crippled 2 people and killed 1. And I think I'm about to make my second kill. So there's my second kill. We take out the M103 from his last known position. So we've done about 2,000 damage. We got 2 kills here, and Terminator's doing really well also. And at this point, I decide I'm going in, but I'm looking at the map, and I saw that our T-32 on the hill just went down, and we need eyes on the hill. So I decide that I will swing wide. Our T-32 is complaining. He can suck a dick. I decide that I'm going to swing around onto the hill, and Terminator can go close combat with those guys using his M103, which has really, really good DPM and has the armor to stand up to those guys. So he's got the tools for the close fight. I don't. So I'm using the wreck of the dead T-32 to take cover and just pummeling the Tiger P. I took a hit from something. It was probably that Jumbo Sherman. So we're going to reload and try to polish him off, but he ducks back into cover. Terminator takes out the Tiger P, puts a huge hit onto the Jumbo Sherman as he does a drive-by killing on him. Something spotted me right here, so I'm not going to advance. I'm going to pull back behind this ridgeline, take cover, and I'm going to let Terminator and the Tiger 88 advance down the flank. And I'm going to provide support fire to anything that they run into in front of them. But I'm also going to be detecting along this ridge, and from here I can fire in almost any part of the map. I can detect the middle. I can keep our lines of sight open, and I can keep my fire up on just about everything. So I put a big hit into that IS-3's rear. He didn't even see me. This is amazing. He didn't even detect me. So he compounds his error, and he drives out into the middle of the field, and I detrack him, but now I'm spotted. So I need to be careful. Looks like the IS-3 is looking at me. A little hard to tell, but yeah, he was looking at me. Puts a big hit into me, and I return the favor and put a big hit into him. And he's still detracked in the open, so that's good. He's you can see him taking fire from the AT-7s. And I decide it's time to finish off this IS-3, but I no longer have him in sight. So we go for a shot on the side of the 4502P instead, put a huge hit onto him. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Terminator and the Tiger 88 have cleaned up their area, and they're pushing into the south, where they run into this AC-48. So again, we're going to use our long-range ability and the fact that we can fire into pretty much the entire map from here. And we're going to give support fire to Terminator and the IS, or the YAG-88, while they push in. So we're looking for shots on the T-69 right now, since the AC is not spotted anymore, the AC-48 is not spotted. And we know from our last known positions on the map that every tank the enemy team had was last spotted in sector K6 and K7. So at this point I decide it's time to stop being a support sniper. It's time to get this fast medium into a more close combat situation. Time to exploit my mobility better. So I'm going to race in, and my plan is to cut to the left and close in on the T-69. That's my plan anyway, but I get spotted, and so I decide I should take an alternate route, and I look for hard cover. Terminator spots the T-69 and goes for him. I'm going to go for him as well. You can see me swinging out around. But I realize that the T-69 is just going to go straight after the YAG-88, and that the T-54E1 was behind the T-69 and on full health. So I go for the T-69 instead, and we give him the drive-by goodness, and then we go for the T-54E1. We're going to try and protect the YAG-88 from the 54E1. I missed my shot because of my really long reload, and now the YAG-88 is dead. The 54E1 is going to unload his whole clip onto him, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. I tried to protect him, but I just wasn't fast enough. And at that point, the match ends. Again, I don't have any post-battle results, unfortunately, but that was an excellent result for this tank. We managed to deal almost 5,000 damage and got 3 kills. Terminator dealt, I think, about 2,000 damage and got 2 kills himself. So it was a really good match. It was a good match for him. It was a really good match for me. And our team just thoroughly dominated the enemy. What I think would have happened, the way I think the enemy team would have won this match is if the T-54E1 and the T-69 had deployed to where I went, up to A2, they would have countered Terminator and me, and we would have been just destroyed immediately, and we would have lost our entire flank on that side, and that 54E1 and that T-69, basically by themselves, could have pushed in to our spawn point and encircled all our guys at the cap, and I think it would have been a devastating defeat if only those 2 guys had deployed to A2 instead of deploying towards the cap. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I definitely enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll be back in like 4, 5, 6 days. If I'm not back in like 5 days, hopefully I'm back in about 10 days, not any longer than that. So until next time, guys, this is Captain Dorja, and just remember, you can never have enough big guns.